Now, just a little warning before we begin that there will be major spoilers in this video for the latest episode of Loki, or the one called Lamentis. So if you have not seen it yet and you don't want anything ruined, it is a really good time to click away. Okay, so this review is going to be a bit different than my usual ones because the thing is, I'm kinda currently on my honeymoon. I literally just got married yesterday, but since my lovely new wife is also a huge fan of Marvel and the MCU, we decided to give the new episode of Loki a watch and then to give our thoughts on it. And let me apologize in advance because there really isn't going to be much of a structure to this video, and I'm sure there's plenty of things we'll forget to talk about, and the sound quality might be a little off. But basically, we just got done watching it, and we're going to discuss it. And first things first, what did you think of the new episode, and what have been your thoughts on the series overall?
Okay, so the new episode, it was a lot of exposition, I think, in this episode, less action, which I'm actually fine with. I feel like there's a lot of details in the series that are to be explained, and this gave me so many more questions than they gave answers to that I thought it was intriguing in its own way. Overall, for the series, I've actually liked it quite a bit. I liked it more than Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'm not sure yet if I like it more than WandaVision. I thought WandaVision was very interesting, but I'm a bigger Loki fan, so yeah, probably. Overall, I've actually been enjoying this quite a bit. I like the thought-provoking. I like the discussion. I like the theorizing, the conversations. I mean, your Discord's full of conversation every week about the latest episode, and it's usually really, really cool because everyone has their own thoughts on what's going on and theories of what's happening next. So I find that to be exciting.
Yeah, I think overall I've been enjoying the series. I think it's better than Winter Soldier. WandaVision, we'll have to wait and see on that one. The biggest thing is the whole, whenever you get into the multiverse, whenever you get into time travel, you're inevitably going to open up plot holes or problems. And I think that's my biggest concern is they say they're going to patch it up and kind of make the whole thing airtight. And yet I'm sitting here thinking, good luck with that.
Overall, I really liked the aesthetics of this episode. I mean, we've seen a lot of the TVA, so we saw a lot of like a boring office type place, very monotone kind of palette colored wise. I liked that we went to a new place, a place we've never seen in the MCU before, and maybe never see again.
Probably not. It just blew up, or it looks like it's blowing up.
It's about to blow up.
I think so. I think
have a
obviously
moon crashed into it.
Loki and Enchantress. I'm going to call her that.
Or Sylvie, her name.
Well, I think she's supposed to be the.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
But I liked the colors of the new planet. You had the purplish planet. You had when you got into the city, especially, it was really colorful and bright, and I just like the change of color because it's been very yellowy.
It's a very drab kind of color to the series so far. Yeah. All right. So one of the most interesting things I think we learned in this episode, and you brought it up after the first episode, and now I wish I would have stolen it and put it in a video, is that TVA agents seem like they used to be regular people. They used to be variants. And that was the theory. You were like, hey, I got this idea. And I'm like, nah.
Well, it made a lot of sense to me. I mean, why bother taking before a court and being judged in the first place if you're just going to get rid of them? There'd be no point in that. But they're judging them based apparently on the fact of if they are a person who could be qualified to work at the TVA, most likely just altering or disguising their memories, as Sylvie said. You know, she had to find a memory from over 100 years ago for this girl to pull into, to work her magic on, to get information.
Yeah, I get the feeling they plucked Agent Mobius out of the 90s, and that's where the whole jet ski thing came from. I was kind of predicting last week, I don't know if you watched my videos because you don't watch my videos, but I was kind of predicting that the series might end with him on a jet ski after they kind of get their free will back. But now I think that's where he comes from. He comes from the 90s, probably a surfer dude type.
I think he's actually Owen Wilson from
that's
the 90s
that's where I was
who
just going
owned a
with
jet ski. So Mobius... Owen Wilson's playing Mobius, but Mobius is actually Owen Wilson.
Makes sense.
Oh, it would be beautiful. Beautiful irony. Obviously, the next big thing to discuss for the series is our, as she had been dubbed, Lady Loki, who goes by Sylvie, which I find very interesting because in the comic books, Sylvie is actually the second character who takes on the moniker of Enchantress. She actually started out as a regular human being who Loki, for no purpose that was ever given in the comic books, decided, hey, I'm kind of going to go mess around with things. He found her, and he altered her memories and gave her powers. He turned her into the Enchantress, and he had her believe she was his guardian. So she ran around for years and years thinking that she was an Asgardian and the Enchantress. And I think that plays into who she is now. She actually was on the Young Avengers at one time, which plays into what they seem to be possibly setting up.
Yeah, I think they're doing well. Yeah, I mean, we've seen a couple of Young Avengers in each of the previous series now. So, but I agree. I think they're trying to set her up as the the different version of the Enchantress, not the original version of the Enchantress, but they did mention her enchanting like 2 or 3 times in the episode. I think it was like
how does enchantment work?
Way too on the nose not to be a sign, because clearly she's not normal Loki. She doesn't have the same type of memories. She seems to, maybe she thinks she comes from the same background as Loki, but she actually doesn't, kind of like the comic book character.
It could be why she resents him. She seems to absolutely hate him.
Or maybe she knows she was created by Loki.
She could. I find the whole Young Avengers thing they're trying to build really interesting. I mean, we saw Patriot in Falcon and Winter Soldier. We know Cassie is going to be Stature in the next Ant-Man and the Wasp. We saw Wiccan and Speed in WandaVision. Kate Bishop is coming in Hawkeye.
Yep.
And Kamala Khan is coming in Miss Marvel.
Yeah,
so
think they're setting that
they've
up.
got a team kind of thing. I mean, I'm not sure how old the actress is who's going to be playing her, but I mean, the actor who was playing Patriot didn't exactly look like a young kid. I don't think that's what they're going for. They want
teens, early 20s.
I think they
maybe?
want more of a teenage thing, though I'm hoping they don't turn it into one of those young adult movies,
like a CW version of the Young Avengers?
Twilight Young Avengers style? I don't know. But I'm really excited that they're bringing a lot of characters in, and they're kind of sneaking them in subtly, which has always been a smart move for them.
Well, they will in the Hawkeye, I suppose. She's
Miss Marvel.
Wah.
But yeah, I don't think she's obviously not a variant of Loki.
No, I don't think so.
And I think Loki knows that too.
Well, I think he suspects it. I mean, he
was singing a song in Asgardian, and she looked totally clueless.
Yeah, that's...
I think he was testing her. I think that's why he wants to know about her memories and her past. I mean, when would a female Loki variant have come out of the timeline? If they're all following the sacred timeline, it would have had to be even birth to be a different gender.
Well, that's the confusing part about the whole sacred timeline thing. Are there multiple timelines? Is it just the one timeline? Now, I've seen a lot of people discussing and arguing and debating back and forth if there's just a singular sacred timeline, or if there are multiple timelines somehow that connect to the sacred timeline.
But it doesn't make sense, because if they want you to believe that there is a singular timeline for the MCU and that she's a variant Loki, when would she have come from? I'm also curious, has she ever been to the TVA before?
Well, she seems to know a lot about it.
She knows about it, but she didn't know directionals within it. That's why she had to hijack the mind of the TVA agent to, how do I get to the Timekeepers? And she had questions. I don't doubt that as a variant she's run into them before, but the first thing that happened when she got there is she tried to use her power, and it didn't work.
Okay, good point. So she probably hasn't
should
been there
know
before.
It doesn't work. Loki knows. Loki walked in there. He tried to use his magic. It didn't work. He knew better. She didn't seem to, which was very odd, because you'd think she would have been to the TVA before. So has she just hijacked minds of other TVA agents while they were looking for her? Or what? I mean, how did she know of the TVA? How does she know what she knows when it seemed like... I don't know why, but I got the impression that she was surprised she couldn't use her magic.
And going along with that, we still don't know what she even wants, what she's attempting to do. She clearly has different motives than our Loki.
Well, he kept asking her, what was her glorious purpose? What is it? What is her goal?
Well, that's another reason I don't think she is a Loki, because I think all Lokis have a glorious purpose.
And I think all of their glorious purposes seem to be very similar.
Yeah, I want my way, and
I want to rule. I have a right to it. I'm destined for it.
A birthright, yeah. So what do you think about the Timekeepers? I was kind of thinking maybe they don't exist. However, after this episode, it seems like they do exist, because they are clearly the ones who started the TVA and are, I don't want to say abducting people, but taking variants and have formed this organization to safeguard their timeline, which I clearly think they're not going to be A, as all-powerful as we were led to believe, and B, that they're not going to be very benevolent, or they're going to have their own purpose, whatever that might be.
They're just overgrown control freaks.
Maybe they're Lokis. Wouldn't that be something?
Oh my goodness, all 3 of them are Lokis. It's like a council of Lokis ruling the timeline.
I could certainly see that. Wouldn't that be an ironic twist?
And that's why they have to get rid of the variant Lokis, because the true ending of Loki is to become the Timekeeper.
That would be great.
I would love it.
Timekeepers. Maybe there isn't 3. Maybe that's how he kind of...
Well, this is number 2.
Well, that's a good point. Maybe there will be a 3rd one.
That'd be kind of neat to run into a 3rd Loki variant. That's probably not a Loki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they all rule, unless one of the Timekeepers is Kang, which I've seen people throwing out there, which is a good thing because we know Kang is coming with Fantastic Four.
It'd be nice to get a teaser of them in advance.
Yeah, I mean we got early teasers of Thanos, and they slowly but surely built to him. So it makes sense that they would bring in Kang, just give you that little sneak peek at him early, and then build towards him.
Oh, I would like that. It would make sense to set Kang up as the next big villain because his capabilities are pretty.
Yeah, he's up there with Thanos. I certainly think you want to do the same thing with the next villain. Although I could see Galactus also being another.
Once you go Galactus, what do you do after that? Really?
Well, I mean, we already kind of did Thanos ending the
I'm
universe.
waiting for. I'm waiting for Avengers versus X-Men.
Well, that's
I know that's
we know that's going to
forever off, but
there's no way they pass up on that. But I mean, that's still probably phase 5 or 6 or something down the road. But you got to bring the X-Men back.
But back to topic.
Yes.
I am very interested in what the actual thing with the Timekeepers is. What are they actually doing?
Well,
what is their actual endgame? Do they really not have one, or are they leading us? Where are they leading the universe?
Well, we kind of learned last week that they don't know the end of the universe, so I don't think they are as all powerful.
So says Mobius, who doesn't even know he's not an actual. He wasn't born there. Well,
that's what I'm saying. Now we have another hint that they are not as all powerful as we kind of were led to believe.
Even the producers of the show said, why would they steal all those reset devices and make all those. They don't just do one thing. I mean, my theory on them is, yes, you can use them to reset a timeline, but it almost looks like Sylvie used them to create new timelines.
Yeah.
So I think it's a dual purpose type thing, depending on who's using it, what they're using it for. She obviously used it because then the TVA kind of evacuated, because I'm sure all the agents were immediately sent off to destroy all those new variant timelines, which means she could just walk in there. Of course, now her window's gone. Whoops.
Not to mention with the Timekeepers, if they were powerful enough to take all these, to end the multiverse war and to combine all these timelines into one, what do they even need the TVA for? Wouldn't they be powerful enough to do this all themselves? Seems kind of strange.
Yeah.
So I think there's just a lot of lies going on behind the Timekeepers.
Right. I'm very interested in where this story will go. I love that they're giving you. I love that Marvel doesn't do the same thing that Netflix does and give us the entire show in one day, because as much as I wish I had the time, I don't know if I have the time to sit down and binge watch the entire thing. And then I would just feel like, oh, it's over. We're done.
It is kind of speculating is part of the fun, though you could argue speculating goes too far and gets people too excited sometimes, or too many theories get out there. People, and
that was the bane of WandaVision.
Yeah, I think
everyone started making these crazy off-the-wall theories that were amazing and interesting. And then when it didn't go that way, people were left disappointed.
Yeah, I think the ending was a little flat, but I don't think it was as flat as some people kind of got themselves worked up for. It's somewhere in the middle there. I understand why people were disappointed, yet at the same time there were so many spectacular theories, which are good theories. I mean, it would have been exciting if they were right, but right. I think you got to get somewhere in between. You got to have a good end. You got to stick the landing, yet at the same time you got to anticipate the landing may not be as spectacular as you expect.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's move on to some final thoughts or overall opinion of the episode. I like the series in and of itself. I'm very curious how it will affect the rest of the MCU. As I said earlier, whenever you start getting into multiverse and time travel, you can sometimes take stakes away from things by implying it can be undone. But overall, I'm enjoying the series. I thought this was maybe a bit of a slower episode, but it was, bridges the gap to hopefully something more exciting to come and more revelations to come. So overall, a decent episode, and the series has been good in and of itself.
I definitely agree. Where I disagree is I love a good exposition episode.
You love anime, so
you
are used to exposition
huge anime
episodes,
fan.
yes.
So yeah, you can get 2 or 3 episodes back to back that are all exposition. I'm like, they're important. So I respect that. I respect that, not always having to throw in action sequences for just to keep people interested. I'm like, this show is very smart with their exposition episode. They ran it very cleverly. They threw some stuff in between to make you laugh, to make you think, to give you some of the action, some adventure, to showcase different abilities and powers of both of these individuals, which is really cool. That you got explained how the enchantment works. You saw more about Loki and his magic and everything. So I really enjoyed that part as well. And I thought it was very well timed throughout the episodes, so that you didn't get bored, but you did get a lot of information, which is very, very good.
Well, that's all we have for you this time. I'd like to thank my wife for joining us today. She goes by the name Sailor Naboo here on YouTube. We have another channel together where we do videos, or should I say we've been meaning to work on that channel, but we have a lot of false starts over there, but we do hope to move full speed ahead on it sooner rather than later. Anyway, now it's your turn to tell us what you thought of the latest episode of Loki or the series overall. So do leave a comment below and let's talk some Marvel. And until next time, thank you for watching.